The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for this week's VIX Service Live video. We'll take a look at the count on the VXX and the Russell 2000, the NASDAQ, and also take a quick look at the count on the SPX, and also take a look at the VIX futures and spot VIX. All right, so pretty busy day today. We saw the VXX spike up quite a bit. We were near 16%-ish or so near the highs, fell back down toward the close. We closed about 12% higher. We did break through the resistance zone that I'd been watching last week for that potentially more immediately bearish count on the VXX, where we would have had a 1-2-1-2 down. And we would have needed to have held 28.50 ideally, and then really up towards the 29.30 zone, which was a 76.4 retrace. We didn't hold those levels. We did break higher. We broke back up over the highs that were struck back in August, which put us into our alternate count. There's within this alternate count, there's still two paths that I'm watching here, and I'm leaning towards the red count, and the red count would suggest that we have indeed struck a top already in this wave B here. You guys hear me? Sorry, I think we may have lost you for a second. Okay, can you all hear me now? I think we may have lost me for a second. I dropped internet. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Okay. Okay, so what I was noting is that we're following one of two alternate paths here with the spike up over the August highs. We're either topping in all of this red wave B, or I think we are either topping in this purple wave A. Either way, I'm leaning towards a pullback here. The big question is going to be whether we see a pullback for a corrective pullback for a B wave, which still has another higher high for a C wave, or whether that's the top of all of wave B here. Based on where we topped and what I'm seeing on the equity markets, I'm leaning towards this having topped in all of the wave B here under this red count. We turned right at the 61.8 retracement of this entire move down off of the 37.16 high, and we saw a fairly sharp move down off of that high. Case could be made that we have 5 down off that high. It's really sharp. It's very straight, so there's not really a lot we can do with subwaves, but the sharp move down is certainly indicative of what we look for in an impulsive wave count. And again, also what I'm seeing on the equity charts, which we'll go over in a minute, is also more suggestive of a more of an all of the top of all of wave B rather than just a corrective retrace for the wave B. Now, if this starts to develop and we see a corrective retrace to the downside, so if we get A, B, C, and then A, B, C for a B wave, so if 3 waves moves to the downside, then I'll start looking at this being just a B wave retrace, still needing a C wave up. But at this point, I'm leaning towards it being all of wave B. But again, we need to see how this fills out here on this next move to the downside. Because we're topping in a B wave, we should see 5 waves down on the next leg down. So what I'd be looking for is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down back towards the lows, or even below the low that was struck back in September, early September, to get us that 5 down. That would be the initial signal we've topped in this red B wave. But that's my base case right now at the moment. And again, the fact that we turned right at the 61.8 retrace, along with what I'm seeing on the equity charts, is having me lean towards that, having topped in all of the red wave B versus just the purple wave A here. Okay, so once we get that confirmation of the 5 down, that should take us towards, we're looking for an A, B, C down. So we're looking for an A and then B. So we should be targeting at least the 20 level for the 100 extension. And if that level breaks, then we could be back down towards the 15 to 10 zone. So back down towards the original target zone that we were looking for previously. But we first would need to get through that 20 zone, which is a 100 extension of this initial move down off of the highs that were struck back in July. Okay, so that's the initial target zone is 1943, assuming we've topped an all-way V already. If that level breaks, then we can be looking at, again, 15 to 10, it would be the target zone below that. Once we get the full 5-wave move to the downside for our wave 1 of C, we can better define those levels. But for right now, again, that 20 levels is going to be the initial target to the downside for that wave C. Okay, so moving on to the equity charts. Okay, so moving on to the equity charts. The NASDAQ and the SPX both broke their potential 1-2 setups that I've been watching, and the SPX, that was an AB setup. The Russell's held it so far, though, so I'm going to allow for the Russell to still be in a 1-2 to the upside, whereas we had our bottom of the wave, of our wave 4, back here on August 18th. 5-wave move up off that low, corrective retrace into the 76.4 retracement level here at 21. Came in at, it got moved a bit. Give me 1 second, let me adjust that. I think the level is 2153, but this fib got moved. So our 76.4 retrace was right at 2153, 2152. Poked under it just a little bit, but we bounced pretty good off of that. So I'm leaning towards still being at bottom of wave 2. I do want to see that low hold. If we break below that low, at that point, I think it's going to be much more likely we're following this red path for the C wave down. Under that path, I don't expect too big of a break of this previous low under this red path. And the reason for that is when we zoom out to our daily chart, we can see that I'm counting that red path being in a wave 4. And under that wave 4, our wave 2 of the same degree, back here in May of 2020, was fairly sharp. So that I expect the wave 4 to be fairly flat. And that's what we've seen so far. So even if we do follow this red path, I'm not expecting too big of a drop below the previous low. I would expect the upper end of support to hold at that 2086 level. If that breaks, then 1920 would be the next level of support. But again, even if we're following that red path, I'm still leaning towards this holding the upper end of that larger degree of support. But again, still holding the white count is the white more immediately bullish count is certainly still holding here if we can hold today's low. So that's really the key on the white count, I think, is holding today's low. We can hold that low and get a larger 5 up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up towards around 2250-ish. That would be a good signal that we've in the bottom and are looking to push higher back to new highs and start the wave 3 up. Again, below today's low, I think it's more likely we're following that red path. But even under that red path, I think we should be getting fairly close to a bottom from a price perspective, just based on where we are, bigger picture here under this wave 4. Again, large degree of support still comes in at 2086 and 1920, but certainly looking for the upper end of that support to hold. Again, given the sharpness of this wave 2 of the same degree, Elliott wave alternation theory suggests that this wave 4 should be flat, and that's certainly what we've seen so far. And again, bigger picture, this pattern is just very incomplete. We have high level consolidation, which is typically suggestive of further continuation to the upside. So again, bigger picture, I'm still looking higher, as long as we can hold over this large degree support zone. But again, we're still holding the immediately bullish path here under this white count on the Russell 2000. Okay, so moving over to the NASDAQ. Okay, so the NASDAQ, I don't think it's in the 1-2-1-2 any longer. I think it's too deep here. So what I've adjusted the count. I do think this is more likely bottoming in a 4th wave, needing one more high for the wave 5 up. And that should take us up towards around 16,069, potentially as high as 16,937-ish. I think that probably is about where this tops out for this wave 5. After that, I'm looking for a retrace for a wave 2. If we break below today's low, again, I think today's low is pretty key on a lot of indexes. I think if we break below today's low, I think it's becoming more likely we may have made a larger degree top, potentially in this green wave one. And again, but we did bounce off that support level here at 14,767. Came pretty close to bouncing right off that level for the wave four support. So as long as that level can hold, I'm looking higher. Again, push up into this higher target zone here. Again, the top of that zone comes into 16,937, lower end of it closer to 15,900-ish. So that would be what I'm looking for in the NASDAQ. Again, below today's low, I think it's opening the door to a larger degree top. Holding that low, I think we can get at least one more push up higher for that wave 5. Let's see a 5 of larger 1. Okay, so SPX. So SPX, I think we should, again, be getting fairly close to a bottom here. I'd be counting this as a 4th wave here. So counting that as the bottom of the 4th with 3 already having topped, haven't adjusted this chart yet. But again, I think we should be getting close to the 4th wave. It's certainly deep enough now. We need to get a full 5 up, and then I want to see a break back up over the gap here, and then up over 44.85 to give us the initial signal we've topped. Either way, I think we're likely going to see a B wave up. So whether we've bottomed in all of wave 4 or even just a wave A, so A, B, and then deeper wave for wave C of 4, which would fit with that purple count on the VXX. I think we should be getting a bounce here, but I'm leaning towards this being all of wave 4 here versus just the wave A of 4. But we'll certainly want to see how this structure looks like up off of the lows to get further confirmation of that. But my base case on everything is that we did strike a bottom today, but we do need to hold those lows. If we break today's lows, I think it opens the door to seeing a deeper move in all of the indexes, as well as the VXX. Okay, so VIX futures and spot VIX. We were up at 28.84. We fell off to 25.71 today. We're still pretty close to, we're right on top of each other for the most part. So we need to see spot continue to fall off to get VIX futures down. But with how fast things are moving, that could happen fairly quickly. Nothing really overly telling here that I'm not seeing on the VXX. Certainly does look like an ABC. We hit the 200 extension on spot. So again, that's typically a fairly common level to hit, which is why I have that level labeled in yellow on my fibs here. So nothing too unusual there. Certainly does look like an ABC up off the lows. So again, fitting what I'm seeing on the VXX, ABC up. Again, right at that 61.8 retrace. So again, I'm leaning towards this being all of wave B, but I will be keeping a close eye on the structure of this next move down. If we get a clearly corrected move down that holds over support here, which assuming that today's high was at least a local top, that lower end of support will come in at 26.39, 25.42. If we get a 3-wave move down into that zone, then we still can be following this purple wave B. But again, my base case is that we've topped in all of the red wave B and are heading down to new lows. But again, I would want to see equities hold today's low, and I would ideally want to see the VXX hold this today's high as well. All right, any questions on anything we just reviewed or anything else? So again, busy day today, so any questions on the equity markets, VXX, feel free to type those in now. Okay, not seeing any questions popping in. As always, please feel free to ask any questions you may have during the week. I will be out tomorrow and Wednesday. We'll be back Wednesday night. So feel free to type those in. I'll get to any questions you may have Wednesday night. Otherwise, I'll plan to see everyone back here again Wednesday night, and I'll be back Thursday morning and Friday for the full trading session. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you in a couple days.